welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to a new video of mine. As you can see from the title, it's a bit of a raw and honest one, but we'll get into that in a minute. But welcome if you are a new subscriber, and if you are a returning viewer or subscriber, then welcome back. Before we get to this video, if I could ask, if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to my channel. You can literally just do it underneath the video, just click subscribe and the notification bell and you're good to go. It's totally free and takes a few moments, so it doesn't take too long at all. So thank you so much if you do go on to do that. From my channel you can expect to see all things pregnancy, babyhood, motherhood, toddlerhood, hauls, some beauty. You'll see some day in the lives coming. So yeah, we do a bit of everything here. So I hope you do consider subscribing. I would be very, very grateful to see you coming back on my channel. But yeah, welcome to today's video. Trying to keep it as like upbeat as possible because it's a bit of a one. And I also promise that once my house isn't such a shithole, I won't just film in front of my plain wall, but everything in my house right now is up in arms because everything's a bit everywhere. We've got dump runs to do, we've got furniture to build, because I currently have a 28-month-old and we have baby number 2 on the way, due in May 2023. So we are in the process of moving most of the house around to do Tommy's new room and then get the nursery ready for the baby and get everything ready around the house. So as you can imagine, my house is a little bit of a chaos area. Like literally around me, I mean I'm on the nice plain wall, but around me I've got like all the baby stuff that we would need to put in the nursery. I've got a corner of the stuff that's staying in here for Tommy's new room. I've got stuff I need to like put in storage. I've got rubbish. It's just all happening. So yes, don't worry, I won't just film on the plain background like forever on my channel. But once everything's a bit more cohesive in my house, then I will definitely film in different areas of the house. So don't panic. I bet you're all sat there thinking, we don't care where you film, just film. But I just wanted to say that. So today's video, let's just get into it. I feel like I'm doing a really long intro to avoid it. Today's video is my like birth trauma explanation update video. I said I would talk about it and I just haven't got around to it yet. But I figured, because I'm doing a walk around of like my delivery suite and neonatal next week, which I'm gonna try and film if I'm up to it, then I thought I'd give you sort of the background before I was going into that, if that makes sense. So to start off with, if you don't know, my little boy Tommy was born at 31 weeks and 1 day. He obviously wasn't due then. He was due at 40 weeks. So he was actually originally due on the 27th of November 2020, and he was actually born at the end of September. Now at the time I just sort of immersed myself in what was happening. It wasn't about me, it was about, you know, getting my little boy better and, you know, riding the wave of the neonatal journey, which if anyone's been through it that's watching this, you get it. It is a roller coaster. It's not even a wave, it's a roller coaster. It's all the roller coasters in Disney World put together. That's the best way I can describe it. You can probably hear him crying downstairs now. He's with his dad, he's not on his own, don't worry. So I kind of, you know, got into it, dealt with what we were being faced with, and then obviously he was allowed home, and you know that was great because that's all we ever wanted. Oh, now he's running around downstairs. So yeah, we got him home, and then I think if I remember correctly we went into like the tiered lockdown. I'm trying to do a serious video and he's just running around laughing. So we went into a tiered lockdown, and then in the January we went into like a full lockdown again for like 4 months. So I kind of just got on with that and didn't really think to like work on myself. And then in 2022 the discussions started happening with me and Adam, you know, whether we were going to have baby number 2, is it something we definitely want, all of that. And I soon realised that if that's what we were going to do, I probably needed to seek some sort of help to deal with what happened with Tommy, because it was always in the background, but I kind of just pushed it down and didn't really face it in a way. So I self-referred myself to a wellbeing service. I'm so sorry, this bit of hair is really annoying me, so I'm just going to put it back. So I self-referred myself to our wellbeing service in Bedfordshire, and I got on their list. I think I had like an assessment first, and they said that I had health anxiety, and I was like, that's not what I have. Because I'd explained about when Tommy goes into hospital, like as an older baby / toddler, that I get anxiety going in. It wasn't the anxiety around his health. Obviously I'm worried about his health, don't be silly, obviously I am. But it was going back to the hospital, because it's the same hospital that everything happened in, and that's what I couldn't deal with. So he still moved my referral forward. Then I spoke to someone else. It was almost like a second assessment. And when I explained it to her, she was like, no, that you haven't got health anxiety. She was like, you've got like unresolved trauma. And I was like, right, okay. So then I had 12 sessions of therapy, which were totally free on this wellbeing service. I will link some of these links down below, but obviously if you're not local to the Bedfordshire area, then just go through your own hospital or GP. They will be able to tell you where to go. So yeah, I've done my 12 sessions. I won't go into complete detail because I feel like this video is going to be long enough as it is. So I went through that, and we basically established, you know, I had unresolved like anger and trauma around how I was treated, the fact that I wasn't told certain things. I had like trauma around like the noises of neonatal and things like that. Yeah, it was quite a lot every week. So I had it once a week for 12 weeks. And yeah, it was one of the best things I've ever done. And I always credit it to, if you don't follow Beth Samland on Instagram and you've been through something like this, I definitely recommend it, because her little boy was born earlier than anticipated, and she went and got help, and actually seeing her going to get the help actually made me go and do it as well. Like, I was kind of umming and ahhing when we were talking about having a second child, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's okay, because someone else is getting help and someone else can't cope with it either. And I message her and I tell her, like, it's to her credit that I went and done it. And she's lovely, and she's also just announced that she's pregnant with her second child as well, which I do need to message her, because I love that she's like on the journey at the same time. I'm due before her, I think, but still, it's great. Anyways, I digress. I'll link her down below anyway. So basically I was diagnosed with severe birth trauma and PTSD, because I wouldn't drive past the hospital. Like, if I had to, I would go a different route. If I had to and there was no other way, I would like freak out. I would start having like an anxiety attack. If I had to take Tommy into hospital, obviously I had no choice, I had to take him in, because he had like 3 rounds of bronchiolitis. He had like an infection in his body that like took over his whole body. He's had chicken pox. yeah, he's had a lot. So I had to take him in, and it was during the 1 parent limit, which is total bollocks if you ask me, but anyways, we move. We'll do a whole video about that, but yeah, so I kind of, my husband would describe it if he like saw me walk in, or like when I'd come out, oh sorry, that was my toe just kicking, where he's like, you'd walk through the door but you'd shut off. Like, he's like, you could just see, because like Adam could come to a certain point and then he couldn't come any further basically with the 1 parent rule. And he just said as soon as you walked through those doors, it's like your whole demeanour just switched off. He was like, you're there and you're caring for Tommy, and you know, you're still a parent and everything. He was like, you don't switch off completely obviously, but he was like, your like emotional bit just goes. He's like, your eyes just go nothing, there's just nothing. And I said, yeah, because I can't be open to dealing with what's in that hospital, so I have to just close myself off to it, if that makes sense. And if you don't know Bedford Hospital, the children's ward, which is usually where we ended up, is in the maternity building. So I could, in some rooms that they put us in with Tommy, I could see like the room I gave birth in, which is a massive trigger for me. I can see neonatal, it just, oh, it was horrific. So anyways, so I decided to get some help with that, and I literally found out I was pregnant, I think on my last session, which felt quite nice in a way. It's a bit weird, but it felt quite nice to like close that journey off and, you know, admit that I did have a problem. And yeah, that's kind of the background. So when this time I found out I was pregnant again, on one of my like initial midwife appointments, she said, looking at your notes, obviously there's some background here. We do have a team called the Ocean team, which is like a birth trauma midwife team across Bedford and Luton. Would that be something you were interested in? And I said, yeah, absolutely, like, please put me forward. So the reason we got to that was because I said I had like anxiety around my pregnancy, and I think that's all she just put on the form. Now, I then got a letter saying I didn't qualify because I haven't suffered pregnancy loss, birth trauma, or scared of giving birth again. You can imagine me when I got that letter. Just take a minute to imagine what I was like. So I rang them back and I just left a voicemail and I said, look, I've got your letter. This is what you've said. I don't agree. First of all, can someone give me a call back to explain what your criteria is? I said, because I had a 31 weeker and I was in neonatal for 4 weeks. Like, I've got some trauma. And this isn't me saying I had the worst journey. Like, I know there's people out there that have it so much worse than me, but like, obviously your trauma is your trauma. I'm not here to say that mine's more traumatic than yours or yours is more traumatic than anyone else's. Your trauma is your trauma, and however you feel about it is valid and it's fine. So I rang them back and I left a message and I said, can someone just call me back because I want to discuss it, because, you know, I have suffered birth trauma and I am scared of giving birth again. Not giving birth, I'm just scared of it happening like it did last time with everything. Like with the hospital and stuff and how I was treated. But anyways, I'm not going to delve too much into that because, yeah, I don't want to like badmouth the NHS. There were just things that could have been done better basically with me, and things that they should have told me and they didn't, and yeah. So I will probably share more of it when I do my birth plan video, because I have started writing my birth plan and I want to like film it for you guys and kind of explain it. And I think maybe I'll explain sort of Tommy's birth and what I needed in this birth, and that will explain it a bit more, so watch out for that. So they did ring me back, and I explained my backstory and said, you know, this is what happened with me, this is where I suffer, these are my triggers, this is what happens. And she apologised. She said, no, you never should have been sent that letter, like we obviously haven't been given the right information. So I had like a half-hour phone call with the lady. Her name was Karen, she was lovely. So I gave her all of my background. We had a really, I say lovely, it was a bit of a chat. I told her everything, and she said that she thinks I meet the criteria for at least an assessment. So I was like, okay, perfect. So she then arranged an assessment date for me. I can't actually remember when that was. Would have been probably around November 2022. So I had my assessment, I think it was about an hour long, and we just sort of went through pretty much most of it from beginning to end. From like his birth and slash being in labour to literally having to take him into the hospital when he was poorly as like a toddler, and the triggers that surrounded that as well. So she then said that she agreed that I did meet the criteria to be assigned a midwife, or a secondary midwife. I'll explain that in a minute. So, but what it had to do, they have a meeting every week or every couple of weeks on a certain day, and every case has to be taken to this meeting to definitely agree that you're being taken on. So I was taken into that meeting, not me literally, just my case. And they agreed, yes, I did qualify. Again, just to point out, this is completely free, by the way. I'm not paying for this. This is all through the NHS. And then they agreed that, well, I got a phone call saying that I'd been like taken on, and then I got assigned my new midwife. So I was speaking to Karen originally, and then I got assigned a birth trauma midwife for my area. Her name is Emma, she's lovely. So she's basically with me throughout this pregnancy. So I still have my normal midwife, and I'll still, like at my doctor's, and I'll still have a midwife when I go to give birth, whoever's on the shift or whatever. But this one, Emma, is specific to my birth trauma. So she almost like advocates for me with everything that's happened, if that makes sense. So I kind of gave her, she had most of my background, but I just went over it in that session with her. Then I had an appointment again after that at the end of December, I think I wrote it down. And one of the jobs she gave me, so when I go into Bedford and I go for like all my scans, and as you know I go for many scans, when you go up the stairs you either turn right to the ultrasound or left is the delivery suite. Well, I never even looked at the door. I would go up those stairs and just go right and not even be able to look next door. So my homework was I had to look left when I went up the stairs. Don't look right. Obviously you do look right when you go in, but first you need to look left. So I done that twice. I was very proud of myself. And then I had an appointment in January 2020 where we discussed, I've got my notes here, that's why I keep looking down. So we discussed putting in a date for me doing a walk around the delivery suite, because I don't really remember delivery suite. Like, I think my trauma and everything has sort of blocked out a lot of those memories and things. And to walk around neonatal, because I haven't actually technically been in there since we left. I did visit to drop something off, which I'll get to. So that date has been arranged, which I will tell you about in a moment. I discussed with her, I've noticed recently that my thoughts and feelings about like obviously what happened to coming back, because I am currently 23 weeks pregnant, and obviously it all ended at 31 weeks. So that fear and sort of anxiety is definitely creeping back. So we discussed that, and she said she could tell. I hadn't even told her, and she was like, I could just tell it's all going on in your head at the minute. So yeah, we discussed that. Sort of discussed, like, as well as that, feeling overwhelmed with everything we've got to do in the house, which I was like, I know this is normal. But I think on top of feeling anxious about the likelihood of a premature baby again, topped with everything else, was just a lot at the time. And I said stuff like, it's really hard to explain to people because people are like, oh, it might not happen again, but until you've been through it, you don't realise it's quite a lot of pressure, because I'm almost having to plan 2 different births. You know, I'm having to plan an early birth and what that journey is going to look like, so I have to prepare, you know, stuff for that. I have to prepare that I'll be in hospital, he'll be in hospital, I'll be away from Tommy, like things like that. And I then also have to prepare for a full term birth, and I don't know what the bloody hell that looks like. You know, I don't know what it is, because I've never experienced it. I know how to prepare for a premature birth because I've done it, but that's still scary to maybe accept that I have to do that. So to almost be preparing for 2 births is really, really hard, and it's so hard to like portray that to you guys, but it's really hard to like get your head around that you're not just preparing for this, oh, my waters might break at 39 weeks and it's fine. Like, no. No. I have to prepare for all eventualities, because I don't know what my eventuality is going to be. So yeah, a bit overwhelmed by that. I discussed what I had in my birth plan so far. I won't go into that because I'm going to do a separate video on that. So yeah, so we've then put in my visit date for my delivery suite walk round and my neonatal walk round, which is coming up very, very soon. I'm doing it next week. I won't tell the exact date because the video will come after. I'm not going to film my actual walk around because it's a delivery suite, so there will be people giving birth, and neonatal has other people's children in, so I won't be filming that. But what I will be filming is me in the car beforehand, and like discussing how I feel and things like that. Then I'll like probably video myself like walking through the hospital, and then obviously I'll come back and discuss what I feel after and how it went, because it's just not appropriate to film in the delivery suite or neonatal, so I hope you understand. I did, like I said, I was going to come back to, I did visit neonatal recently. My mum has been sewing or knitting the like cannula covers and the comfort swatches and all those kinds of things, so we dropped them off when we went for my scan. She came to one of my scans, so we dropped them off. We were only there for like a few minutes, but like I touched the button to go in and I was sweating, and then they answered the door and then they let us in and I was like fuck. So I didn't go in, I was just in the doorway reception-y type bit, and I saw the woman that actually looked after, or one of the women that actually looked after Tommy towards like the end, and that was great. But yeah, it was a lot. Like I was sweating, like my ears were like hot and like I couldn't hear properly. I was like trying to explain to my mum like all the different bits, and I was just freaking out. And I saw like the incubator and I was like, oh shit. So yeah, it was like, even talking about it now, like my hands are like sweating. So yeah, it was a lot. But anyways, So yeah, I'm going to do a proper walk around of those two places. And I'm not looking forward to it, but it needs to be done. I need to do it in a mindset where like I'm not in labour and I'm not being transferred up there to see my son. I need to do it with no distractions, nothing like that. Just to get my head around it, I think. So I think it will be beneficial in the end, but it's just not an easy thing to go and do. I will have linked, like I said, the wellbeing service. If I can find some information on the Ocean Team service, I'll link them down below as well. I'll link Beth Sandlin's Instagram. Definitely go and give her a follow. If you've had like one neonatal birth and then like you're pregnant again, definitely to follow someone like regarding that is really helpful. I'll also link Miracle Moon. She had a 31 weeker and she does loads of work around like birth trauma and stuff, so I will link her. And I'll also link my birth story and neonatal journey video if you haven't seen it yet, to give you a bit of background on what happened. So I'll link those down below for you. But if anyone has any questions about like my birth trauma or my PTSD or anything that happened, just either contact me via my social media, which is linked in the description box, or just pop it in the comments down below and I'll happily answer them, because I've fed you a lot of information in this video and given you as much background as I can, but you know, I can't give you everything. So yeah, otherwise this video would be like 5 hours long. So yeah, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. And I hope you found this video helpful. If you've been through something similar or are going through something similar, I really hope you found this video helpful. If it helps just one person that watches my videos, then, you know, that's great. Because I think not a lot of people know that this sort of, this thing isn't really, like, can they do it? Can they get it through their NHS? I don't know, but knowing that I can get it through mine is great, and hopefully other NHS trusts should do it. And if you're thinking about it, you know, don't be ashamed that you need to do it, because I'm not ashamed. Like, it's not a shameful thing. Like, you went through something really traumatic and you're getting the help you need to survive your second pregnancy. Because if I didn't have the Ocean Team, like, I'm not sure how I would feel going through this pregnancy. I wouldn't be, I mean, my husband and my parents would be like, not really calm and like zen about it, are you? But I'm calmer than I would have been had I not had them going along on the journey with me. So yeah, do try and access it through your own NHS system. I definitely recommend it. But like I said, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments or contact me via my Instagram and I'll happily have a chat with you guys. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a raw and honest and emotional one, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's helped, and obviously you'll be seeing my walk around video coming after this, well, on my channel soon after this. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you like my content, please do consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys.